Hey, it's Sarah Greener here. I am your host and I'm stoked to have you back here. It has been a great week. I hope your week has been incredible too. I am super excited because we are gearing up for our next client intensive, which is over 2 days. We get together, we talk about all things you as the business owner on first day. And the second day, we get focused in on your business. We are making sure that you as the business owner are really thriving. I think we forget that our businesses are a reflection of us, what's working and what's not working for us. We often forget to look after ourselves. Just get busy, just get working harder will fix the problem. When often what we have to do is take stuff off our plate, allow ourselves to realign, ensure that our nervous systems are keeping up with the changes that we're making. The second thing is making sure that we're really clear on what's working well in our business that we can keep doing consistently, because how often do we do something? It works really well and it works well, we forget to keep doing it. We want to check in on those things. There's some things that are puddling along. You're like, it's okay, but it could be better. We want to check in on those, fix the bits that could be better, test them, improve them. There's the areas where you're like, either we've not done anything on it and it's just sitting stagnant. Sometimes it's a deliberate choice. We don't need to do anything on that right now, just leave it. Sometimes it's accidentally got forgotten along the way. It's gone to being in this really bad position. How do we start to adjust for that? We're covering that off in a few weeks. Really looking forward to doing that, because I think this looking at the whole picture of our own self in the business as well is something that allows us to recenter, reset, then get going again. Makes a big difference. I think the reason I'm passionate about it is because for many years I just ran, looking down at my feet, not checking where I was going, not looking after myself. I just kept going, I just kept pushing. But fundamentally, I wasn't working at my best. Then building businesses that I freaking didn't even love, doing things that didn't light me up with people I didn't really enjoy. Now, for me, it's really important that when I'm working with women in business, that they're building something that works for them, for the life that they want to have right now in the season into the future. Johnny and I, we sit down, we look at what do we need for Johnny, where he's at for him as an individual, what do I need for me as an individual, and what do we need as a collective, as a family, before we go start looking at what are we going to do in the business, because the business needs to work in with what we're doing. The business should serve our life, not be our life. Now, if I was single, didn't have a husband, didn't have a child, had no other commitments, then I could be all in on my business. But you're like me, right? That's not our reality. It's really important that we're seeing the two of them fit together. That's what we're all about. Here at the Moxie Movement, it's all about how do we make those two things fit together, on the assumption you want to keep your partnership, keep your marriage, keep your relationship going. How do we do that? What does it look like now? How do we make sure it's better a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? How is my parenting at the moment? Scarlett's 12. How do I make sure that when she's 22, she still wants to hang out with me? I look at my friends with older kids whose kids genuinely want to spend time with them. I go, I want that. I look around when we go out for dinner at the restaurant table. I look at the couples that are both on their phones, not talking to each other, that are 20 years older than me. And I look at the couple over there that are laughing, smiling, talking, sharing food. I go, I want that. I also want my business to have made an impact on the women that I work with. For most of my women, they want to make an impact too. They're doing stuff that matters in their communities, making a difference with their enterprise. I freaking love that about working with women in business. I think we have this ability to make such a huge shift when we do our own thing, when we run our own business, not just for ourselves, but for our communities, for future generations. I get really excited about what I do. Could jam on it, talk about it all day. The ripple effect of what women in business do with their teams, with their customers, with their clients, with their families is just much bigger than the impact that one person can make. I love that about this business journey. I think as women in business, we're really focused on a much more well-rounded version of success in business. It's really important in this day and age. It makes me feel great hope for the future, which is lucky because I have a child. I'd quite like her to have hope for the future as well. I'm not talking about a philosophical topic today at all. It's actually about slow seasons. Now, I'm just going to put this out here because yes, there are definitely some seasonal businesses. If you have a ski field, it's going to be a seasonal business. Like when there's snow, you've got people skiing. When there's no snow, there's no ability to ski. You have to know that even in a business like that, there are opportunities to ensure that the slow season isn't a slow season. How many mountain resorts do we know across the world that in the snow season, the ski resorts in the summer season when there's no snow, they're now doing mountain biking or hiking or something else that's still aligned with the landscape, still aligned with the business of being outdoors in this location. It's just a slightly different offering. Yes, I agree, there are seasonal businesses, and I hear many people say to me, oh, it's just the slow season. My ears always prick up when I hear that. It's always slow at this time of the year. I'm like, oh, that's super interesting to me. The moment I hear that, my brain immediately goes to, what were you doing 90 days ago? What were you doing 30 days ago? What were you doing 60 days ago that has led to this time of the year being a consistently slow period for you and your business? If your sales drop every slow season and you blame the time of year, I hate to break it to you, but it's not the calendar, it's you. I fix this all the time with people in their business. Oh, Sarah, it's just not busy at this time of the year. I'm like, yeah, but I've worked with other people in this industry. They're busy. I'm working with other industries. They're busy at this time of the year. So there's definitely things that impact it. I work with mums in business. When mums in business are getting their kids back to school at the end of January and start of February, it can be a bit of a slow sales time for me. I also know that if I go back and look often, it's also a 30-day lag after Christmas for me. I have to be really careful about labeling it as a slow season because the kids are going back to school, because it's really easy to find excuses for why sales aren't good. It takes a little more work, not a lot, I don't think, but a little more work to actually find the reasons as to why that period is slow. Going back, understanding your sales cycle, like how long does it take from action to purchase? What were you doing where you should have been doing an action that you weren't doing 60 to 90 days ago that's resulted in slow sales now? Slow seasons, generally, if they're predictable, it means they're preventable. If you look at your sales numbers, you've got 3, 5, 6, 10 years of data, and you're like, oh yeah, March is always quiet. I want to know why. What happened that meant that March is quiet? I know people are like, oh, winter's always quiet because people don't go out, or this month is always quiet because this happens or this happens. Cool. You know when it's quiet. It's predictable. The moment that something is predictable, it makes it preventable, because we can go back, we can work backwards from where the result is. This is the outcome, not enough sales on these dates. We can work backwards from it to make sure it's fixed. People say January is really quiet. Cool, let's pre-sell in November and December. January is not quiet. We used to have this lull from 20th of November to Boxing Day in our tourism business in the Bay of Islands, because everyone was getting ready for Christmas. This drives me mental that we have this lull. Turns out people getting ready for Christmas do things. They do Christmas functions. We have a perfect venue for that. We could fill that block, not with people traveling and going away for weekends or anything like that, because yeah, I get it. People are at home doing the Christmas stuff, the family thing. They're less likely to be traveling at that time. We can still make that time strong by selling the same offering in a different way to make sure that people want to come out on the boat. This is what I mean by when things are predictable, they're preventable. If you can see a lull in your sales, it's happening the same time every year, I want to go figure out why. I want to go figure out what I'm doing as the business owner so that I can go, that's interesting. That's always the time of year I take a holiday. That's interesting. That's my birthday. I always take 2 weeks off. Or that's interesting. I always seem to get sick at that time of the year. It results in a sales lull 3 months later. I can see those patterns. If it's that I'm sick, I'm not taking actions, how do I make sure I don't get sick at that time this year? If it's because, that's when I go on school camp with the kids. Okay, what do we need to do to make sure that sales actions are happening or marketing actions are happening or the pipeline is still being worked while I'm at school camp? Or do I need to double up my work on either side of school camp? We don't see a lull 3 months later or 30 days later or 60 days, depending on how long that lag is for you in the sales cycle. Often it's an inaction back up the pipeline. And that doesn't mean that you were doing nothing. It's very unlikely that you're someone that's sitting around going, oh, just have a break now. You're just not those people. You're busy getting shit done, just in another area of your business that's not driving sales. Sometimes when people get knee deep in the delivery or the onboarding of new clients, or maybe they've gone through a season of hiring a lot of people, have been really focused on bringing team members on to make that work really well for them, they've got their eye on other areas in their business. They put down the market, they put down the sales. It means that accidentally they end up with a slow season later on. For us, we would really notice it when we did the recruitment at the same time every year. In September, just before Christmas, there was this lag of activity around going out, focusing on bringing in customers, bringing in sales, because we were busy onboarding all of our summer team, training them, making sure they can run the boat, drive the dinghy, take people snorkeling, walk them up the island. If nobody's focusing on the sales, then we have to put something in place so that we can be all in focused on onboarding, recruiting our team. That doesn't happen year after year. Because if it's a pattern, we can fix it. We've got to change the behavior so that the pattern changes for us. This one's really about reverse engineering your sales cycle. Like, you need to know, where are my sales coming in across the year? If it's inconsistent, why is that? Is there like big holes, like, oh God, there were no sales in that month? Why is that? Oh, it was because we close up shop from the 15th of December to 15th of January. We give everyone a holiday. We don't do anything. Okay, cool. Like, maybe that's realistic, but we need to know what the pattern is first. Know what your sales look like, at least on a month-by-month basis, ideally on a week-by-week. Depending on your business, you might even want to know down to the detail of the day-by-day. You can see what the patterns are. Then you can reverse engineer it. When you know where the sales are happening, you can look at what causes the sales to happen at that level throughout the year, either month by month or week by week. You can go back from there and go, okay, what did I do or didn't do that drove that big lot of sales? Oh, that was awesome. That month was really amazing. What did we do that made that month awesome? How can we make that repeatable? Ideally, every month. Maybe if it's not something you can do every month, can we do one every quarter? How do we make that happen? Or if it was really low, what were we not doing all of a sudden that we normally do? Some of that might be your focus somewhere else in your business. How do you systemize that part of your business so you don't lose your focus? Or how do you drive sales before and after that period to a much greater level so that you don't get that slump further down the line? This is all predictable. You've got to go back and look at what is the action or inaction that comes to drive that level of sales further down the track. This is about stopping using those seasons as an excuse, starting seeing them as part of your strategy. When you stop going, oh, it's just a slow season, start going, hey, this can be a strategy to increase my sales substantially. Because if you get rid of those really low months, the overall picture looks much better. If you can duplicate one really big month, you can make it happen 3 times a year instead of just once, or maybe even every month. What would be different in your business? And that strategy now allows you to have way more consistent cash flow, way more consistent sales, a lot less stress about money. No longer are they your excuse, now they're your strategy. Super simple. Track them. Have a look at where your sales are. Look back 30, 90 days. You should know how long it takes from action to sale. What is it? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Maybe it's longer. Maybe it's 18 months. Maybe it's 2 years. If your sales cycle is longer, you've got to look back further. Start tracking, figuring out what you did and didn't do that far back. Be deliberate about driving sales before those dips. Know about it, fix it in advance. Start making phone calls, start getting bookings booked in, start planning some promotions that you can do around that time that will sell more things at that time of the year than you normally do. Then build some evergreen, repeatable systems that allow you to consistently be in front of your clients and leads and consistently make sales. That might be phone calls. Pick up the phone every day, talk to 3 people every day. Or maybe it is posting content. Maybe, I don't think it's the solution to everything, but maybe you do get sales every time you post. Emailing, like in the boat, we have this big database. We're not good at emailing them, but every time we do email the database, guess what? We make sales. We get private charter inquiries. Who knew? Maybe you could be more consistent in setting that up. in the rocks, Sarah Johnny. Hey, this is something I could do to fix in our business. What's your version of that? You've got way more consistency. It doesn't require you to remember to go do it. What's the things that can happen on autopilot? What's the system? Hey, I love a good sexy system. Sexy systems that bring in sales are absolutely my favorite. If you have sexy sales systems, you will get rid of the feast-famine cycle in your business. It will be way more fun. Like, feast-famine sucks. Been there, done that multiple times on my business journey. We've been doing it for 20 years, you learn. It sucks. When it shows up, you're like, man, I gotta fix it. I gotta fix it fast. Because seasons don't slow your sales. Your lack of planning does. Fix it. When you do, things will feel better. There'll be more cash in the bank. You get to celebrate more often. Till next time, stay Moxie.